International Relations article. Foreign Policy Making in India, Actors and Contemporary Thrust. Foreign policy making is a complex process and number of actors and agencies play their role in this exercise with the rise of
globalization,
new means of information technology and greater democratization. The foreign policy making process has changed over the years. Though India adopted an independent foreign policy only after her independence in 1947, leaders of freedom movement, particularly Jawaharlal Nehru, were closely watching international developments even before India's independence. At his
initiative,
the Indian National Congress established a small foreign department in 1925 to make overseas contacts and to publicize its freedom struggle. Since then, Nehru has been in the forefront to articulate the Congress stance on various international issues. As a leader of the interim government in 1946, Nehru was instrumental in laying the foundation of independent India's foreign policy. He has a fair amount of exposure and understanding of international affairs due to his frequent foreign visits and interest in foreign affairs. He was also the first foreign minister of India, as he kept foreign department with himself during his prime ministership. Nehru succeeded in forging a domestic consensus on the definition of Indian national interests and foreign policy objectives. Some of these objectives are building a unified and integrated nation based on the secular and democratic
principles,
defending Indian territory and protecting its security interests, guaranteeing India's foreign policy independence internationally through non-alignment and
promoting
national economic development. These objectives were the product of the prevailing international environment as well as the domestic
condition of
the country. International Relation article. The formulation of foreign policy is a complex process mediated by the participation of various stakeholders. India is a federal country, and the subject of foreign affairs is included under the jurisdiction of union or central government. Besides the government bodies and authorities like the Prime Minister and Ministry of External Affairs, the political parties, media and pressure groups also play an important role in the formulation of foreign policy. Since India is a functioning democracy, the role of non-government stakeholders is gradually increasing. The government has also initiated the mechanism of public diplomacy to enlist the support of domestic and foreign public for her foreign policy approaches. Also, the development of new form of information and communication technology has brought significant changes in the way the foreign policy is formulated and conducted. Following are the main stakeholders in the formulation of foreign policy in India. A. Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru is considered the father of India foreign policy. Since the days of national movement, he developed a keen interest and insight in the foreign affairs and articulated India's response to various international issues. After independence, he became the Prime Minister and retained the portfolio of Foreign Minister also. The pattern set up by him led to the major role played by the Prime Minister in the formulation of country's foreign policy. He determined the broad contours of foreign policy and left the implementation of foreign policy to the senior members of the Foreign Ministry. Thus, there developed the pattern of a strong personal role for the Prime Minister in the foreign policy. The pattern set by Nehru was followed by his successors Lal Bahadur Shastri and Indira Gandhi. The Prime Minister office, PMO, emerged as the most powerful center of decision-making under the Prime Ministership of Indira Gandhi. Advisors in the PMO provided channels of information and policy recommendations in addition to those offered by the Ministry of External Affairs. The Research and Analysis Wing, as a subordinate office of PMO, significantly expanded the information available to the Prime Minister and his advisors. Rajiv Gandhi, 1984 to 89, largely followed the pattern set by previous Prime Ministers. However, the role of PMO became weaker during the periods of coalition governments under Morarji Desai, 1977 to 79, Vishwanath Pratap Singh, 1989 to 90, Chandra Shekhar, 1990 to 91, and P.V. Narasimha Rao, 1991 to 96. The most notable initiative during Narasimha Rao regime was the Look East policy, now named as Act East policy, which heralded a new era in India and ASEAN partnership. Under the NDA government led by Atal Bihari Vajpayee, the Prime Minister again went on to play an important role in foreign policy. India's decision to conduct second nuclear test and get a place among nuclear-capable nations was a milestone in India's foreign policy journey. The efforts for rapprochement with Pakistan with initiatives like Lahore Summit, 1999, and composite dialogue process with Pakistan may be considered during this regime. In the UPA government, 2004 to 2014, led by Manmohan Singh, the role of Prime Minister in foreign policy making has not diminished. The Prime Minister has emerged as the main mover of foreign relations during present Modi regime, 2014 to 2024. B. Ministry of External Affairs. The Ministry of External Affairs is the nodal agency which is directly concerned with foreign affairs. Formally, it is responsible for foreign policy making, actual
implementation of
policy, and daily conduct of international relations.
the Secretariat Staff of
Foreign Ministry provides information and analysis to the Prime Minister and Minister of External Affairs, recommends
specific
measures when necessary, plans policy for the future, and maintains regular communications with foreign missions located in India and Indian missions located in other countries. The Ministry of External Affairs, MIA, maintains 171 Indian missions, 2010, abroad, largely manned by officers of Indian Foreign Service. The ministry is headed by a cabinet foreign policy under Prime Minister Modi, New Directions. Prime Minister Modi, 2014 to 2024, has given new direction and thrust to India's foreign policy approach. During his time, the foreign policy has become more pragmatic, assertive and proactive in its approach. New policy initiatives. 1. The launching of Neighborhood First policy in 2014 to develop close and preferential ties with neighboring countries. India has maintained high-level contact with her neighbors with frequent visits of Prime Minister. India's development partnership has also increased in South Asia. Yet China has emerged as new player in this region in last 2 decades. However, the relations with Pakistan has not moved forward due to issue of state-sponsored terrorism followed by Pakistan. Reactivating Look East as Act East policy in 2014 to further reactivate mutually beneficial partnership with South Asian nations mainly through ASEAN. India's Act East policy has assumed great success in forging ties with ASEAN in trade, investment, cultural and technological cooperation. Initiating Look West policy to develop close and balanced ties with Middle East nations like Iran, UAE, Saudi Arabia and elsewhere. PM Modi was the first Indian Prime Minister to visit Israel. During this period, India has developed close and strategic ties with all these countries, mainly with UAE, which is called Mini India. The formation of 12U2, Israel, India, US and UAE, Forum in 2021 also helped India to emerge major player in the Middle East. India's partnership with major global powers has also taken concrete form both bilaterally and multilaterally. India, US, Australia and Japan have established Quad in 2017, which aims to ensure free and open Indo-Pacific. It will also deter China from pursuing aggressive policies in the region. India has been the founder member of G20 since 1999, but in last one decade she has emerged as the major player in global affairs. The G20 summit was organized in India in September 2023 for the first time. India has termed Central Asia as its extended neighborhood and has developed close ties with 5 republics of the region. In 2017, India joined the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, which is the main regional organization of Central Asia. India has also well laid her claim as the leaders of Global South under India's initiative. The African Union was made the member of G20 at the Delhi summit in 2023. India has continued to represent the cause of developing countries in various global forums like climate change negotiations or international trade negotiations. Economic diplomacy has also been expanded during Modi regime in terms of trade, investment and technological cooperation with leading countries. Now India is the 5th largest economy in the world, may soon take the 3rd place after the US and China. Modi has activated public diplomacy in new form. He has organized meeting with the members of Indian diaspora in many countries including US, Singapore, Israel, Canada and France among others. This has enhanced India's visibility in the global arena. Also, India has been very active in protecting the interests of Indian diaspora. Many evacuation missions were launched to evacuate Indian citizens during crisis from Sudan, Ukraine, Israel, Haiti and others. Till 2024, PM Modi received 14 high awards, highest of all Indian PM. Rome various countries including France, Russia, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Bhutan, Egypt and Greece. In nutshell, India has emerged a leading player in the global affairs and India's vertical bar visibility is seen in all aspects of international politics. Minister and assisted by the Deputy Foreign Minister. The Foreign Service Training Institute, New Delhi, established in 1986, provides training for officers of Indian Foreign Service, IFS. This includes training in a basic professional course, a comprehensive course in diplomacy and international relations, a refresher course for commercial representatives, and training in foreign languages. The administrative structure of the MIA consists of 2 types of divisions, territorial divisions and functional divisions. It has 13 territorial divisions, each covering a large area of the world. Each division is responsible for policy coordination in its respective area. The MIA also has functional divisions dealing with external publicity, protocol, consular affairs, Indians abroad, the United Nations, UN, and other international organizations and international conferences. 3 functional divisions deserve special mention due to their growing importance in India's foreign policy. The Policy Planning and Research Division is responsible for conducting research and
preparing
briefs and background papers for policy makers. The background papers provide information on various issues related to international developments. The briefs cover wide-ranging issues relating to India's foreign policy and its role in the changing international environment. The Economic Division has the responsibility of managing and conducting foreign economic relations. In the age of globalization, the Economic Division has become very important. Its activities reflect changes in the government's economic policy and the international economic environment.
It established
The Economic Coordination Unit in 1990 to assess the impact of the Persian Gulf crisis arising from Iraq's invasion of Kuwait, changes in Eastern Europe and the Soviet Union, and formation of a single market in the European countries, and other similar changes having impact on India. It also tries to promote foreign investment in India. The central government states of India have also played role in
shaping
India's foreign policy. This is known as paradiplomacy in diplomatic parlance. Paradiplomacy has assumed a special significance in the post-globalized world, which facilitates the participation of states or constituent units of a nation in the formulation and implementation of foreign affairs. For example, India's policy towards Sri Lanka has been largely affected by the concerns of people and parties of Tamil Nadu. For the people and political parties of Tamil Nadu, the Tamil problem of Sri Lanka is very emotive issue. They persuaded the Manmohan Singh government at the center to adopt hard policies towards Sri Lanka at a time when China was courting Sri Lanka with many investment projects. Another notable example of state government's larger role in foreign policy against the wishes of central government is the issue of sharing of Teesta water with Bangladesh. In 2011, the West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee not only opposed the Teesta water sharing agreement, but refused to go to Dhaka as part of the Prime Minister's delegation. Due to this opposition, the Teesta agreement has not been signed with Bangladesh. At present, the government of Mizoram is opposed to India's decision to end the free movement regime with Myanmar and also to fencing of boundary. Now even the local governments and municipalities have come to play a role in the foreign policy. Various agreements regarding sister cities alliances with foreign countries are to be implemented by the local governments. The needs of economic diplomacy have also pressed the union government to involve states in the foreign affairs. In view of these developments, the Government of India has created in 2014 a separate states division within the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to coordinate with states for further facilitation of their efforts to promote their exports and tourism and attract more overseas investments and expertise. Conclusion: the making of foreign policy is a complex process. The Prime Ministers have always been major players in the formulation of India's foreign policy since the days of Nehru. Other players include the Ministry of External Affairs and its various agents, political parties and pressure groups and state governments. In India's context, the prowess of globalization, modern means of technology, federal system and increasing democratization are the factors which have made the foreign policy making process more democratic and decentralized. However, the Prime Minister and the Ministry of External Affairs continue to be dominant players in shaping of foreign policy of India.